Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gypsy Moto Show. Let's go ahead and talk about our Loretta Lynn's Qualifier. Got that coming up the 15th, 16th, and 17th. So practice is going to be on the 15th, and then we'll have a race on the 16th, and then a race on the 17th. And all those classes are on Facebook and also on the website. So if you want to see the schedule, either go to jackpinegypsies.com and you can check it out there or check out our post on Facebook. So, yeah. So, you guys ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
One kind of shout out maybe I'll give on that race is at our, when we get the Loretta classes, we end up with that 45 sportsman's class, and we felt like we got guys spread a little thin between in the vet ranges. So we're thinking, what I'm planning on doing if I can get my bike running, I was going to race it yesterday, but is just bring a vintage bike and jump into one of those classes and, try and, just have fun with it and fill them up. And there's not a vintage class, but it'd be kind of fun to fill it in those vet classes with some vintage bikes.
I think it'd be a blast.
That'd be cool.
I think that's a great idea. Plus, it's one of those things where whatever class you really care about, you can run your race bike in that one and then have that kind of comic relief class where you get to go just plain have some fun with your vintage bike.
So what's your vintage bike, Aaron?
She doesn't. The one I'm working with right now it's an 82 CR250. I have an 82 and an 89 CR250. And they're both kind of under the weather right now.
So which one?
The 82 is closest. I actually had it running this week. Well, it's it's classic vintage stuff. It always overheated, so it was always pouring engine ice in there. So eventually the solids plugged the radiator. Not that I could see it, but then it stuck. So then I go to rebuild it, figure out the radiators are plugged. So I got to build some radiators, and then because of course you can't get anything.
Right.
But then it sat for too long, so I rebuild the engine. Then I figure out all the wheels blown, so I got to rebuild the wheel, get it all back together, start it, and then the petcock starts leaking. So drain the gas, fix that, get it going. Runs for probably I go through a couple of heat cycles, and it blows the main seal. So that's my sales pitch for vintage racing. There's a lot of that.
There you go. It's nostalgic, since we've been running fuel injected bikes, we've totally forgotten what it used to be like, and sometimes you need to go back there and try to figure out why you thought it was so much fun back then. So
that's how desperate we were.
That's for sure. Oh, it's still always fun. The fun thing about racing vintage stuff with new stuff is you don't have the suspension, you don't have the braking in most cases. Heck, a lot of them don't have even disc brakes at all, and so that by the end of the race the brakes are going to be fading, and then you just hope it runs all the way through, and so there's all kinds of stuff that just makes it kind of fun because you have to kind of manage the whole way through. So a lot more thinking going on.
Every time you cross the finish line, it's a win.
That's right.
So tell me this, when we rode those bikes back in the day, I don't remember them being, maybe we were just used to them, like tinkering with them and messing with them. I don't know. Were they always that kind of back and forth, or was it?
I mean, when they're new, they're better, right? But as soon as you've ridden them a year or two, you start having stuff that you just kind of let go maybe, or you don't pay attention to quite as much. And then I think like the starting thing, like in my case, when I get the 490 going, just getting it started for the first time of the year is kind of an ordeal. It's like, got to find somebody to pull you behind a pickup. There's no way you're going to get it started otherwise. And once they start for the first time that season, or a big hill, but the problem is they have so much compression that you got to try to get up to fourth gear and do just the perfect job of letting the clutch out, or else it's still just going to sit there and skid. They won't roll over. So yeah,
I do think they were that unreliable because I do remember. So like they had the Team Green program back in the 80s, and I was on that, and like there was a number of benefits you got from it, but I remember the number one thing for me was that they gave you a phone number that you could call Sunday night and get your parts on the way. So you can get your parts on the way, so hopefully you're ready to go the next weekend.
That's
so,
awesome.
Wow.
That's an indicator of where we're at. Right?
That's crazy.
They have definitely made them better. There is no doubt.
I think we thought they were reliable because they weren't as bad as snowmobiles.
Right. That's pretty well said. Yeah, I mean, I think they were as reliable as they could be for the time. You know, and the thing is, anybody that'd been riding, say, like an enduro type bike, you know, like an on-off bike, like we used to call them, well, they broke down all the time. So once you got a moto bike and you were like hitting jumps and running them hard, it was like, man, these things seem pretty bulletproof in comparison. Front fender wasn't flying off, and
the headlight.
Yeah, the headlight, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I remember I had a 79 KX 125, and I inspect it for the frame for cracks like every weekend.
Right.
Then you get the acetylene torch out because it was chromoly.
Right.
So you know that's how you had to weld them back then. So.
Think about how many bikes were welded. That was just a common thing. Like if you hadn't welded an aluminum frame now, I mean, I'd be afraid to ride it.
I would too.
No way I'd be getting back on that. I mean, I might ride it, but I'm not jumping it. You know what I mean? It's like, who wants to take that chance? Look like one of those mountain bike guys jumping those carbon fiber bikes when they fold all up.
Oh, yeah.
You think? Well, if nothing else, later in the season we'll have all this stuff running. We'll have it going. So it's a plan.
Yeah.
At least we're working on it. So
Yeah.
try to get other people doing the same.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It would be fun for sure. But yeah. So just real quickly jumping back, those practices, or the Loretta Lynn's qualifier, practice that Friday, and then Saturday Moto, Sunday Moto. And one of the things I do want to talk about is tech inspection, and I think we're going to do that a little bit different than last year. But I think you kind of had a plan on that, didn't you, Aaron? Were you thinking some on Friday, or what were you thinking?
So what we'll do on Friday is we'll definitely, you know, I'm going to be around, and I would encourage anybody to, I will gladly inspect your bike on Friday to make sure that you're good to go for Saturday. Because what's going to happen on Saturday, if you come into a limited class, and we're obviously going to be doing full inspections and you know, if we find something that doesn't meet the limitations, then you're not going to be able to even race. You know, in the past, you won't even be able to start the race if your bike doesn't pass. So we'd like to avoid any surprises on Saturday, so we'll definitely do basically volunteer inspections on Friday.
Cool. So it gives everybody a chance to get a double check, be sure they're good to go if they don't know for sure. And then they'll be coming back through. We'll be setting the tech inspection right up there as you enter the start paddock. And so they'll have, if they haven't done it Friday, before their race starts, they'll come through and they'll run through your inspection. And then go right on through into the starting paddock. So that's kind of what we're thinking, right? Is tech right before the entrance.
Yeah, and we're got some ideas about how we're going to stage that, but basically we're going to need everybody to stop, and we'll have a more designated place to stop so that it's easier for us to, you know, catch everything that way.
Right.
I think for people who came last year, I was doing the inspections behind the start. Now it'll still be behind the start, but we're inspecting one bike at a time as we go through an inspection lane, so to speak.
Perfect.
So
it'll be way better. And guys, make sure that you have a chest protector. That's something that you absolutely have to have this year. So must. And there's no way around it. So make sure that you show up with a chest protector. At the District 30, we had a few people that didn't know that and showed up without them, and we did get them some chest protectors to borrow, but there's no guarantee of that, guys, so make sure that you come prepared. So that's going to be one of the other things that we'll be checking gear as well. So chest protector.
That's an AMA rule, right?
It's an AMA rule. Yep, you have to have back protection. So you have to have a chest protector, but it also has to have back protection. It can be an under jersey or an over jersey, but the bottom line is you have to have a chest protector with back protection.
We'll be checking for it.
Right.
Yep.
And on that note, go ahead, Aaron.
It was like at the last race, we did end up borrowing a few or giving people time. And even the few that we did, which I don't know, maybe there was 6 or 8, it ended up being a problem. And this race, we expect to have, we're going to have a tighter schedule, more riders. Like there's going to be no way. Like if you show up at the gate without a chest pro, we're just sending you away.
Right.
So.
Right. So there's your heads up, guys. Make sure you get one. Get that figured out. So on that note, I will be doing the refereeing from right up there at the start gate. So what will happen is they will come through Mark, and then they'll run into, and Mark will be sure that they're in that class, that everybody's there. They'll come down, you'll go through inspection with Aaron, then you will enter the starting paddock. At that point, I'm going to meet you there, and I'm going to go over the things that we want to make sure everybody knows, and then I'm going to be checking as Brian calls out the names. We're going to go through, you're going to pull your dice out, find out your starting position for the first moto, and then he's going to get everybody lined up. I'm going to go to the front of that person. I'm going to ask your first and last name. We want to make sure that the right person is on the right bike underneath that helmet. So we're going to ask those names. We'll know for sure who's there. Once we've got everybody lined up, I've checked that everybody's there. We've got you checked off the list. We've done a check for the racetrack going hot, and then we're going to go ahead and let her roll and drop the gate. And the next group's going to start over again. We're going to keep dropping that gate and try to run a real tight, quick, fast race. And so we need everybody's help to be there on time, and that way we can make sure that we get a great racetrack for you the next morning. Everybody, if they have a second moto the next day, or excuse me, another moto in a different class the next day, you can get back, get done, get rested, work on your bike, whatever you need to do. And then we can also get out there, get the track prepped, and get ready for the next day as well. So that's kind of the plan on that one. So.
What's the penalty if someone's found not on the wrong bike or wrong, whatever it may be?
If that's what we're going to be, the penalty is going to be if somebody does it blatantly, it's a year suspension from, that's an AMA rule. If it's something that is inadvertently done, and we can tell that that's what it is, we're just going to let that be, hey, you're in the wrong class, why are you here? We're going to get their explanation for it, that kind of a thing, and send them out. If it's an innocent thing, then there's not going to be any major issues. We're just going to be telling you, don't do it again. Make sure that you know where you're at. But yeah, that's kind of where that goes. If there's something that's blatantly done, we're going to be following the rules. So.
Yep.
The funny thing is, it's like I love being a part of things where I like continuous improvement, and that and it definitely really feels like that here. And I think that this, like bringing you, the referee, into that starting gate area is a great idea, because then it's like it's one-stop shop. We're all in the same place, and you as the head referee, that the great thing to me about this is you're going to make that final call before we even run the race.
Right.
So it really is. I mean, it's like after you brought it up last time, I'm like, oh yeah. Now that after I thought about it, like, oh yeah, that's a great improvement. Like,
Yeah. And when there's questions, they don't have to go to hospitality to try to find the right person. Typically, it's going to be if it's a question about the race itself and what they should do or shouldn't do, or whatever that has to do with my side of things, I can give them the answer right there. Or if we have say a wrong person in a wrong class, I can call the girls right away, make that decision, what we're going to do, how to fix it, and without wasting any time, and then get them on the gate, get it going. Or if it's just, nope, you're the wrong age, you can't be in this, whatever it is, we can take care of it right there and save that time, and plus get the people to answer like that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's going to be an improvement all the way around. Plus, just since we changed the track, that starting area, that's the best place to see everything that's going on.
It is.
You can see everything other than the Sturgis corner way up top, before
Right.
you drop off. Other than that, you can see everything that's going on, and so yeah, it's kind of what I thought, but going to be exciting.
Part of the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, it is.
It's the best view. I mean, you sit there, think about it. You can, at any one time, especially when it's a packed gate, you can sit back and watch, and there's people in the air everywhere. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 big jumps, and I mean big jumps, all within view right there. So you can potentially see 8 people. Well, probably you'd see more than that, but easily see 8 people in the air all at one time. So
It's a fast part of the track too, going back across the starting, stretch there.
That part's pretty darn cool.
It's a lot of fun to watch the A and B riders, man. They're just wringing the necks off of those 450s through there.
Running through all that black topsoil. That's
yeah.
I love watching that dirt just kind of go up and fall back down. It's just like,
it looks like a wake from a ski boat.
It does. It's just heavy enough, like no dust, but just like all fluffy and flop down. So pretty cool. And as we talked about on the start, we've got a way to improve the start. We're actually going to be bringing that right side in about 15 feet right there at the corner, and tapered back, in a perfect angle back to the first gate. So that will pretty much put everybody up to where they're using the big berm, that big Talladega type corner going into the whole shot corner. So it won't affect anybody racing on the track. You'll still run the same place that you were running before, but it'll just make the start way more even, and also use more of that bermed corner, big banked corner. I shouldn't call it bermed.
That'd be good.
Big banked corner. And
So is it increasing the radius of that left-hand corner off the gate?
Yes, correct. It'd be the left-hand corner. So right now it's kind of, let's say, shaped like shaped like this. Well, backwards. Me looking here. Shaped like this. What'll end up happening is they'll both just be like this, and then as you come around that corner, it'll make the loop. So, I'm sure that makes no sense to anybody. I'm sitting here watching myself do it on the screen. It probably makes no sense whatsoever.
No. So the weird thing is, it makes perfect sense. I just had to reverse it in my mind, and I don't know if it's because
you got that engineering mind, though.
It might be something with Zoom. It might be something with me. Anyway, I get it.
I know it's definitely the Zoom thing right here, because I'm looking at myself, and everything's an exact opposite. So my right hand is my left hand, and my left hand is my right hand.
See, I'm ADHD, so I was looking at your pen going, I wonder what kind of pen he's using.
Funny. But yeah, I think that's going to make that corner so exciting, just because of the way it comes in. And if you'll ending up way high on that big banked corner is going to be awesome. It's just,
That's cool.
If you go stand on it, it's probably at
pretty steep.
I'd say it's something like that. Pretty steep. So, and it's,
there's nothing better than a big radius turn with the big wall on it. You just laying it in there.
So cool. And it's like 80 foot wide all the way around. So
yeah,
that's the other thing. And a foot of, well, more than that, but at least a foot of just loamy, topsoily, full of humus kind of dirt. And then it's into some great dark brownish black dirt below that. So pretty cool. And
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So anyway, those are kind of the big changes there for sure. Also, want to make an announcement to everybody. We do have reserved parking on this particular race, so I think that it'll be up tomorrow morning on the Facebook page. you'll be able to, if you want to reserve a parking spot or a camping spot, a pit spot, let's put it that way, you'll be able to do that early. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you check that out and reserve that spot. So also, as long as the weather holds and it works out, as long and we end up needing more space, we will be pitting people out there in that field that's out there by the new start as well. I don't think we'll be going up in between the two jumps yet. I don't think we have time to get that pit ready. But that big field with the big oak tree out in the middle of it out there, that'll all be open for pitting as well. So that's going to be kind of a. It was me, and I was racing. That's in the, and it wasn't muddy. I'd want to be out in that field personally, right by the gate. And pretty good spot.
Well, it looks like the weather's going to be pretty good. I mean, from the extended forecast for now, it's showing some rain on the Monday after.
Right.
But that weekend looks pretty clear.
Yeah, it's looking like everything's shaping up for a great race, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty excited.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny because back when Lynn was riding there a lot, like one time we noticed Jesse and the boys were parked way out there in the trees, and we're like, no, why are they parked way out there? And then the next time we're like, we're just gonna go park out there, and it's like, oh, I get it. It's like being in a national park out there.
It is so nice.
It's beautiful.
It is so nice. Yeah. I was kind of walking back. I'd left a piece of equipment out there. I don't remember. I was doing something this week, or last week, and I'm walking back out there, and I got to looking at all the good green spaces we're starting to develop. So where the old start used to be, that one's starting to come around. That for pitting, or basically for spectators. So we've got that area. It's starting to green up. Then just right after that, we have that next little tree section, that green area that has all the oak trees. Perfect place to sit back in there and watch the race. Then you go up around the big bowl corner and towards the start, and you have that big area of oak trees and stuff in there. And not a bad place to watch the races in there on a hot day either. And then now the new pit area that's starting to go out to the west, back around, and then eventually up in between the two big jumps, and that's all starting to get developed. So getting to be pretty cool.